Must be about 9 o'clock.
It is 9 o'clock, I'll call the meeting to order.
Move to approve the agenda for this meeting.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Megan, what do you got for us?
Just questions. Trista's not here yet, is she, for the compensation board?
It's just the public hearing.
Yeah, if anybody has
so-
questions.
We still need to open the public hearing.
Yeah.
Make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
Any further discussion? Do a roll call, Rebecca?
Yes.
I'm a yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. This is your guys' opportunity to speak on the budget. I know the mailers went out, it can be very confusing, but we're here to explain everything to you.
You just waiting for somebody to speak up?
Absolutely.
I'll do it.
Just state your name if you
Yep,
would.
absolutely. So my name's Rhonda Collins. So I'm here to express my concern about the proposed tax levy increase. And I want to explain how this increase would affect residents who are already struggling to keep up with the rising cost of basic living expenses. Over the past several years, essential costs have risen dramatically. Housing, food, utilities, transportation, and healthcare have all increased at rates far beyond what many households can absorb. These aren't optional expenses, they're basic necessities required to live safely and maintain stability. Food prices remain significantly higher than they were just a few years ago. Groceries take up the larger share of monthly budgets. Utility costs have also increased, making it more expensive to heat, cool, and power homes. Transportation and insurance costs have risen as well, and medical expenses continue to climb, even for those of us that have coverage. For people on fixed incomes, these increases are especially difficult, where incomes do not rise at the same pace as the essential costs. Every dollar is already allocated to basic survival. There is no flexibility left in budgets to absorb additional property taxes. A levy increase at this time, when essential living costs are already elevated, would create disproportionate hardship. It would force many to make impossible choices between paying for taxes and meeting basic needs like food, medication, and utilities. That's aside from those of us that believe property taxes, and you should never be able to take somebody's home for property taxes that they've already paid for. Additionally, using 2013 as a base year, property taxes have increased 66%. I'm talking the total property taxes, so I would like to submit to you, if I separated it, but I did a terrible job getting ready. I'll submit it, I'll provide it to you. So what I'm doing to calculate that 66% is I'm taking the total taxes, not just this portion, and I'm determining from 2013 to 2024 the total dollars. When I get to the county levies and I do the same, it's 55%. Now I can't explain why the 2024 value on my tax statement does not agree to the document that went out. But I've triple checked my numbers. If I account for this proposed increase, I'm looking at dollars, not percentages, not anything. The total dollars from 2013 to the proposal will have increased by 68%. If I do a phenomenal job at my work, I get 3%. I may be able to get a little bit more at the expense of my peer, because if they give me more, they take more. So if you take that and you calculate it, that's 36%. I get it. I'm not giving all of it to this particular component. This is not the only taxing authority that's after me. I got an electric car. I pay taxes on electricity, but the DMV decided, hey, guess what? We're going to tax you because you're not buying gas. All right, right? I bet everybody in this room is feeling what I'm talking about. We, as people of the community, have to make sacrifices. I noticed on this document it said, it seems like a circular reference here, part of the reason that this increase is needed is because of property taxes. That's pretty ironic to raise the property taxes on the people paying it because you're paying property taxes. I'd really like to understand what the IT portion, what that IT portion is needed, but I'll finish what I have written because I didn't think I'd be able to just articulate it very well without this cheat sheet. So the other thing I noticed is in the overall taxing authority here for property taxes, a couple of things have dropped off, but there's always something coming in, raising up to take its place. The total doesn't go down. Things drop off, the total still still continues to go up. So I respectfully ask that you consider the real world impact this increase would have on residents who are already stretched to their limits. Stability in property taxes is critical for people who are doing everything they can just to stay afloat. So thank you for your time, and I guess we got quite a few more to go, so I appreciate it.
I would like to clarify something there. It's not increase in property tax, it says increase in property insurance. It says increase in property and workers' comp insurance. So it's not an increase in property tax. The county does not pay property tax.
Okay?
It's because of the increase in insurance
It
costs.
says increase in property and workers' comp insurance.
Yeah, so it's property insurance.
Insurance, our insurance is went up.
Okay.
Are we allowed to ask a question about that then?
Yes.
What sort of efforts have been made to mitigate that cost instead of just accepting them? Have you looked at
Good question.
providers? Have you?
Yeah, actually, we've cut
Let's
insurance
pass this up to them.
a little over $200,000 this year.
3 copies.
Well, health insurance
Yeah. Health
was cut. The work comp insurance, so we did see a massive increase last year, and again, this year, we've had some very high claims, but we did hire a risk manager last year who is working with departments to bring that down. We go through IMWCA, which is the state's provider. Going privately, we have looked at it, and it would be more expensive to go through a private insurance provider versus the state, so.
Have you determined the cost of the risk manager? Was it worth saving what they discovered?
At this moment, we have not saved anything, but we're barely a year into it.
They
so.
We were mandated by
Yeah, we didn't-
Workman's Comp to either start this program or go to another company in the private market. But where we have our work comp, we didn't get prices, but we were assuming it was gonna double if we went to the private market versus the pool that we're in currently.
Did you know about how many county employees then that is covered under the workers' comp?
135?
It covers everybody.
Everybody.
It covers volunteers, it covers every employee, all the interns, everything like that.
But that's about 135.
Give or take the day, anywhere between 160 and,
Right.
yeah.
Megan, can you touch on the rates, the tax rates and?
Yep, so the
what
levy
they've
rate
done?
is going down. It
What
is
you
not
have in the
increasing.
paper is not accurate.
Well,
Well, even with the paper, it is going down, so the
so the
current,
levy, hold on though, the levy, as you complete this, the levy's going down, but the total dollars is going up. And
Correct.
that makes sense, right? Because property values are going up, the levy ought to come down, because you're supposed to be going to the budget. I'm saying the budgeted numbers are higher.
they are, the budget, the total overall asking is higher,
Yeah.
but the levy rate is less.
Doesn't matter.
Some
The
residents,
dollars are higher.
right, some residents will see a decrease in property taxes. New valuation increases the value in the county. So if new home is built, that's new valuation. That factors into the total. So if you look at the total value, we went up over almost $1 million, like $800,000 last year. Or 800
Yeah,
million, so.
when you spend more money, I don't care what your levy is, the more money, more money, more money.
Right, but saying that the
I'm not-
levy went up is inaccurate, because it did not. The levy went down.
I'm not saying the levy went up, I'm telling you right there on that piece of paper that I submitted, I'm talking about total dollars, that is 2013 dollars versus current dollars.
Right, but like you stated, your expenses are going up, so are the county's. Our
Right.
insurance went up
Yeah,
$100,000.
So I gotta make cuts, where are your cuts?
We cut $200,000 from our health
Oh,
insurance at the
Okay,
expense of
I
the
have to
employee.
think about that health insurance. I wasn't able, I watched the video. So you guys cut the health insurance, which was great. But then you couldn't help yourself. You had to put money in an HSA for people for their deductibles and stuff, and for their $60 that their family was gonna go up. Why? My Medicare went up 20% last year. My deductible went up. I have no extra income that I have. I'm on a set income. Nobody gave me extra money. You guys, you can't give every single thing. You cut 200,000. That was awesome. But oh, let's peel it back. Let's peel it back. We can't actually save that much money. You know, in the private sector, your employer will say, this is what your insurance is gonna be this year, and they expect it to go, it goes up every year. Why are we can't afford it in this county at all.
This document was sent to me, Marilyn J. Menzer. This document was sent to me by a concerned Harrison County citizen via my campaign website, and it is from the Interstate Technology and Regulatory Council. And it has both Harrison County and the statewide average. So our population change is less than the statewide average. Our inflation rate is the same as a statewide average. Our reasonable growth rate, tax growth, is less, but our property tax growth, taxes are increasing, this is per this document, taxes are increasing 8.5% faster than the combined growth of population and inflation. This is unreasonable, it says. We are 8.5, almost 7% higher than the state average, and we have less of a population. This is not a county that is a wealthy county. It does say on it, click to contact Supervisor, so I don't know if anybody reached out to you via this, but that was sent to me. And then this was sent to me by Emily Allman, the county assessor who assesses the taxes. And there's some things in here that I would say are not accurate. One of them is she references 135% for tax growth. This, I believe it's 135%. And this says 46.2%. In addition, I'm just going to give you an example of what she has put in this document. And if anybody wants this document, it's obviously available at the assessor's office. It is the 2025 assessment year residential mass appraisal report for Harrison County, Iowa. We have not been provided a hazardous conditions report, nor are we qualified to detect hazardous materials. Therefore, evidence of hazardous materials which may or may not be present on a property was not observed. As a result, the final opinion of value is predicated upon the assumption that there is no such material on any of the properties that might result in a loss or change of value. And here's her signature. She signed it on April 1st of 2025. There are residents who live in Cottonwood Hills, the subdivision where the former Offutt Air Force Missile Base is. One of those residents purchased their home in 1999 for $499,000. In 2025, it was assessed over $900,000. That is a community where not all disclosures have been made by the real estate community to them when they purchase homes. They move here from out of area blindly, and she is putting in her document that there is no hazardous waste. We know there's hazardous waste in Harrison County outside of the TCE issue. We have gas stations with underground tanks. We have nitrates in the water from farming. And yet, this is a document she is putting, I'm not talking about TCE, I'm talking about taxes. And this is in her assessment report. So there's things that affect everybody's taxes in this room. And she has inadequately reflected that in her reporting. And I'm sure you each got a copy of this report.
I think what she's trying to say is, we're starting to feel like these valuations are a little overdone. I know just in my property alone, my valuations have more than doubled in 5 years. And that's before they even come out and look at the addition that I put on just this last year.
If I, and I'm not Emily to give you the exact answer, but we are under a state program called equalization.
Okay?
So every 2 years, we have to do what the market values of everything. So people are seeing these valuations go up, we have nothing over there. We
Go-
can't-
And I
Yeah,
understand.
that's not
It is
accurate.
true. At some point, why aren't you guys awash in money with
That's a
all
good
these
question.
valuations going up?
It's a good question.
Why do we feel that we need to have a levy increase then if
I don't think,
all the
we're-
valuations have went through the roof?
I don't think we're increasing the levy.
The
on-
levy did not increase.
Did not go up.
Well, what's this meeting about then? Aren't we talking about increasing the levy?
No, we're
No.
talking about the
about the
proposed
budget.
levy, but the levy went down.
Yeah,
But what we need, what I think the public's asking us is, yeah, we're decreasing the levy, but because the valuations have gone up so high, we actually need to decrease the levy even more in order to keep people's taxes from going up.
People cannot sell their homes. I've been a real estate professional. I am a broker in 2 states. People cannot sell their home for the assessed value. Iowa code states homes are supposed to be assessed at 100% value. The reason why the state told you you should increase the value every 2 years is to keep up with the market value, but you are exceeding the market value. In Iowa code, it also states that anyone that has purchased a home within the last few years, the market value is what is set between the buyer and the seller. That is the first paragraph in Iowa code for assessments. I purchased my home in November of 2024. I paid $499,000. A week later, it was assessed almost $100,000 higher than what I paid for it. Megan purchased her home in January of 2025 for $489,000. She is
No,
a
that's
county.
wrong. That is wrong.
What-
I
how
did
much
not pay
was
that
it?
much. That's not.
Not-
But that's
And
inaccurate information.
she's assessed almost $100,000 less. So I want you to than what she paid for it. So I want you to explain to me how these assessments are fair across the board.
There is a avenue, if you don't agree with your assessment, you can contest it, there's a board that reviews it.
Yeah,
That is
Yeah,
not,
we-
this
we
hearing,
all-
It's all based on comparables.
yeah.
this
It's all
hearing
based
is
on
on the
comparables.
budget. If anybody has budget
This is budget
questions.
questions, we can't do anything about that.
Yeah.
now.
But that has everything to do with the budget.
It doesn't, because that is already set, and
That's set.
this board and I have nothing to do with
We
that.
have nothing to do with that, guys.
You need to
Nothing.
contact the assessor and the assessor's board if you have an issue
Yeah.
with your
Yeah,
assessment.
you
Except
said
this group
I mean,
is,
it's a joke.
is dividing up the funds that are coming from the
From the
assessment.
assessor,
So
correct.
you're using the funding that's coming from it, so instead of
Correct.
talking about how it's being handled, the new issue.
Emily, we gotta put you in the hot seat. Just explain how the assessments work and how we come to assess values.
Okay,
And why we change them every 2 years.
we have to, by code, revalue every 2 years on odd years to meet market value. And market value is determined by keeping track of the sales in the year before.
So if you have a $100,000 house in Mondane, and the 2 next to you sell for $200,000, the value of your house is gonna go up whether you did anything with it.
assuming it's comparable, that makes
Yes.
sense, but,
Yes.
so you mentioned that the levy is not increasing, and all of my discussion had nothing to do with the levy, because
Okay.
I have been to those meetings and been told how it works, but mine is about dollars,
So
right?
dollars are increasing $213,052. It's the proposed increase
For the
Yeah.
whole
for
county.
the entire county.
But as we're talking about levy, this letter indicates the effective levy is 9.4, I'm talking rural, 9.4, and it's going to 9.7. Not that
No,
it's-
so that's not, so you're,
Okay.
not that you're reading it inaccurately, but you're reading, so you need to be comparing current year property tax. So the 10.02688, that's current year.
Okay,
And we're reducing it to 9.77313.
explain what effective means.
Effective means if the money was to remain the same. So if we did not want to increase dollars,
Oh,
effective would be the dollar
yeah.
amount.
I think
So the levy rate itself is going down. And again, what was proposed originally and published is high. We, at the time when we set those, we didn't know insurance, we didn't know salaries. So that number has come down. What I'm currently looking at is for rural 9.57868. So it's come down again another 20 cents.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's interesting, 3 years ago, these dollars had commas, making it realistic to people, and now they have no commas, but we're going from $11,926,000, which oddly on my statement that I received at my house said $11,407,000, so there's a $500,000 discrepancy. But we're going from $11,926,000 to $12,405,000. How is that $200,000?
We've come down since this was
The
proposed.
published is always the highest level.
Yeah, we,
Because we have to publish it.
a week or 2 weeks ago, we reduced it down lower when we set insurance rates finally.
That's why when that mailing goes out, it's so inaccurate. They make us mail it before we finish anything.
And the mailing is required by the state.
Yeah.
What is put in there is required by the state. We cannot edit it in any way, shape, or form.
So what is the new number? 12
Current-
million?
Current, the way they have it sitting now is 12,139,472.
Thank you.
So what's the solution for people being overassessed? Because they are overassessed. People cannot sell their homes for what they're assessed
Actually,
at.
the best thing for that is what's going on at the state legislature right now, which is the property tax.
But
reduction.
this is a local issue. That is why you have invited the public here. And we are asking you for guidance.
Not on property tax.
We are
Our local
asking
issue is
you-
the levies, so that's the part of the property tax we have input on.
So what
levy.
was the purpose of this meeting today? I guess I want to
review
hear
the
that
budget
from
as
you.
Published.
To hear your concerns.
Concerns
when we do
before we
our final.
finalize it, yeah.
So does these people's concerns have any influence on how you're moving forward, or have you already made that decision?
No, their input is 100% weighed upon.
And like I said before, the part we have control of is the levy rate.
Levy set.
And because property values have gone up, we have to continue to lower the levy rate if we're gonna get back to the same dollar figure. And the way that we have control of lowering that levy is to cut spending.
And what happened over the last 4 months is, not a lot of people liked it. We cut a lot out of the budget to keep the dollar figure down. That's what we did for 4 months. So that's why we've come to this point now where we finally have the final numbers. We have an increase of about $200,000. But I think we've done a very good job, as much as we can do. The property tax questions is nothing we can do as far as assessments and stuff.
Other than what you do with the property taxes.
Correct.
With, like you said, you've already set the insurance rates, meaning that
We
you.
just did it last.
Meaning
Yeah.
you didn't set the rates, the insurance company set the
Yes.
rates.
Well, we had multiple proposals and the board picked which proposal they finally
The one
wanted
that
to
saved
go
us the
with.
most, yeah.
Very good. The IT that you selected and the workers' comp that you selected then? So you're going with different companies to try to save money on that, or
So
you're just
we've never
rolling it?
had county IT before, and it's a huge risk to the county. So the board back in January, maybe, they decided to hire in-house IT, which we are unsure of what that will cost at this point, so.
What we've
did-
done though, that
Yeah,
we had 4 subcontractors, paying each of them a lot of money. And each was doing different things. Each were buying different computers. There was no plan. So we consulted with all the counties around us and across the state. Most everybody else has an IT person in-house that can control that for the county. So, for example, now, we want something done different on our website, just a change, it costs us money. So we want to go to where it's in-house, we can control the cost more, we can buy in bulk, we're buying computers, we have a plan. In the past, we didn't have any plans when we bought computers. If one broke, we get another computer. Not necessarily like the other computers. Software was the same thing. We didn't have common software. So we think in the long run, this will save us money. There's a startup cost to it, but we pulled a lot of money back in from all the departments. Every department had an IT budget. So we've tried to pull all that back into, and some departments don't like it, but this is the efficient thing to do.
Well, I don't like when my phone drops a call in my town, but that's the IT I have in my
Yes,
house.
yes.
I don't get to charge somebody else more money to get better IT in my house.
No, and I agree, but
The
That's
problem
what I
is
have.
our IT cyber insurance has told us they will drop us if we do
you
not,
don't bring a person in-house.
because we're not in compliance.
We had four
with-
subcontractors with different levels of security.
So what other budget cuts are you looking at in the future? Because, like this woman pointed out, you did make a cut in insurance, but you turned around and took a portion of that money and put it back in the employees' HSA accounts, which really didn't reflect the cut as much as the general public had thought it did. What other budget cuts is a board of supervisors willing to make so these people's assessments on their property does not continue to double and triple?
Well, your assessments.
Yeah, we can't do anything about that.
Your levies,
So they're-
assessments are set.
Yeah.
We control the levy.
But you guys sit on the
Total
board.
dollars.
You guys, all three of you sit on the board that oversees assessments. Is that correct or incorrect?
That's correct, but
One voting factor of that.
we're one
Right.
voting factor. Once again, we don't.
So, but
set-
are you voting to protect the public's assessments, or are you voting in compliance with
We don't
everybody
have a
else?
say in that.
The conference board controls the budget of the assessor.
Yeah.
And they appoint or don't, choose not to reappoint the assessor. Assessments are the responsibility of the assessor. But if someone doesn't agree with their assessment, there's a very clear defined path for them to protest that assessment. Either by talking to our office.
That is a very, very structured system.
Very much so.
We have no input to that.
And if
Well,
you
none.
don't
Actually,
go,
the
Does not tell you
homeowners
how to
don't
set
either.
assessments.
No, you don't.
We've gone in and
You
fought
don't.
our assessment too, and they don't care.
They look at comparables. That's all they can do.
Okay,
But if you have a property tax overall question, that's your state legislature. And they're working on something, but who knows what that's gonna
so
be.
what's gonna happen if they pass, Kim Reynolds', thing where she wants 350,000 to not be taxed for, seniors?
For me, that would be great. I'd
Well,
love
I
that.
know, but what's the
Yeah.
county gonna do? We need to figure out some other kind of thing that everybody, even though they're not a homeowner, like a penny sales tax or something like that.
I agree with you.
You know, because we can't take it all, and we have, you know,
Agreed.
especially Missouri Valley, we're a pretty much a bedroom community. People work in Omaha and come back. They don't really, you know, they didn't want Dollar General over there either. Because they're going to Omaha. Not everybody can do those kind of things. We're just turning our back on, you know, new businesses, really.
I have all the same concerns you
You know
do.
what? We need to do something besides just putting it all on property owners.
I agree 100%.
So what cut examples can you give us if we're gonna get behind and vote to raise these? Because I'm assuming there'll be a vote, right? No, this is just a budget.
this
Well,
is just a hearing.
Just a hearing right now, yeah.
You
Right.
simply just give your opinion, and then they vote at the end of April to accept the final budget as
I guess the
published.
biggest thing, we share your concerns. I'm on farm ground. I am ticked as heck about property taxes. You know, my house, since I've lived here, I've been here 25 years, has gone from 46,000, I think it's 290,000 now, and I've done nothing to it. So it's just, I have the same concerns you guys all have. Property tax and the comparables and the assessments, there's a formula the state sets, we have to adjust every 2 years based on our sales in the county. So if you have a $100,000 house, like for me, $1 million house went up down the street from where I live. All, you know, a rising sea raises all boats, right? And that's exactly what happens around here. What our responsibility is try to keep the budget as level as we can. Now, we do have a $200,000 increase next year, mostly due to some outside issues we can't handle, but we spent 4 months of cutting the budget. I mean, I can try to think some of the things we did. We did stuff in every department, we went back and cut the budget. And every one of them came back to us with their proposed cuts. They weren't happy about it, but that's what we did. To keep and even lower the levy, which is what we did.
And to explain that process a little bit, what we did is have each department come in and go line by line through their budget and justify their line items. Once we agreed that each one of those items was needed, Then we get to the bottom line, and we said, this is how much we can fund.
So we
We
still
sent
cut
it
a
back to
couple
them,
back.
and they
Yeah.
cut out of it where they wanted to cut in those line items.
There's still things we could cut. I feel like there's still a lot of things we could cut.
Some of them, we said, we're gonna fund 98% of your budget. Some of them, we said, you know, we want you to cut $50,000.
Yeah. It all
And
adds
that's how
up.
we handled it from
Have
there.
you ever done a ground up approach as opposed to this percentage methodology or whatever, right? I mean, I have to do that at work, justify everything. You don't get to
Yeah.
start with where you're at because that creep where people
Yes.
are like, oh, we didn't spend all the budget, hurry up and spend the rest.
Yeah, and that's how we do that. When we go line by
Yeah.
line, we look at the past 3-4 years, and we tell them, you know, you haven't spent even close to what you had budgeted
cut
in
it
those
out.
years. So
What
we need
if
to
they
get that more
What if
realistic.
they rush to spend it like some do, right? I mean, that ground up approach is, I need this, and here's why. I need this, and here's why. You start at zero, not at where your budget was.
And that's.
That's a hard one.
We did not do that. We did not start at zero. We said cut out a percentage of what we
Based on
spent last
past
year.
need. And then if they couldn't justify the need, we took all the what-ifs out. But what if I need this? No, we took all that out. And if they really have a budget problem, they can bring it back to us later and tell us why they're out of whack on their budget.
Our two biggest expenses are insurance and wages. And those are the two things that we're not cutting.
Rebecca thinks we should cut positions, I guess.
I think we should.
Why don't you?
If he wants to cut wages, just like you guys, all your bosses cut wages, correct?
And positions, right? I'm not saying you
Positions,
should,
no.
but it's
And we have.
happening all around me. It's
Yeah, we've
terrifying.
not filled positions. We're doing that now. We don't fill openings.
Yeah, no, that's it.
Well,
Yeah.
the only openings we didn't fill was the sheriff's office.
And there'll be more, because as we go through the year, just like we did last year, we come in one other position, no. We want to refill this position, no. Rebecca, you were here for 4 months and helped us justify this budget. Now you want to disown it?
Can I quote you on that, Tony, that you're not going to continue to fill positions
You can quote
to
me on
save
that,
money?
yes.
Okay.
But we don't have control over that. As far as the elected officials' offices, we
Well,
can't tell
elected,
them,
no, we
we can't tell them that they can't read
What can we tell them? though? We can tell them we're not
On
going to
the
fund
budget.
that position.
on the budget.
That's-
Why don't you make the employees pay more of their insurance? Take the burden off.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
We can look at that.
Yeah, that's a fair comment.
I mean,
That's exactly what happened.
the
In
HSA,
private
my
sector.
company paid, only pays
Yeah.
half.
Every year it's been changing and the employees, we're on that same glide slope, it's going up for the.
You guys pay
for everybody.
90%, don't you, right now?
Yes.
Mhm.
See, that's unheard of.
In the city of Missouri Valley, the city of Logan, and the city of Woodbine, all their employees, their health insurance is paid 100% by the city.
Yeah.
So
That's
if you're,
crazy,
if
too.
you're within those city limits, I would suggest you talk to your city
I
council
think,
about that as
Yeah,
well.
I think people need to look at what other counties are doing.
Exactly.
And that is not happening in every county across the state.
I have no
In
say.
addition to, these high increases in wage are not happening. Some counties are keeping the percent increase very, very low because they understand the taxpayers are strapped.
What's low?
Some increases have been 1% and 1.5%.
Yeah, we're 2.
You're 2, you've already made that decision, I thought
We
you were
haven't decided
voting
yet.
that
That's
today.
what that's what we're looking
Okay,
at.
so would you be willing to go down to 1 or 1.5% to make these people's taxes go down?
I'm not willing to, based upon all the stuff we had with the compensation board. I think the compensation board.
You're
did
willing to,
research.
Rebecca? You would be willing to vote for less of an increase?
I think as a
For all
county,
elected officials or
All-
just some?
Yeah, for everybody?
We're talking, I would freeze elected officials' wages.
All elected officials.
Do we want to attract good employees to the county,
Yes.
or do we want to lose a lot?
Are you
Because-
speaking as an employee or as a concerned
Taxpayer.
citizen?
Taxpayer and a department.
Yeah, I'm speaking as both. I want to be able to attract good employees to my department. And also, when we're talking about a 2% increase, employees' effective wages are going down because that's less than the inflation rate.
David, were you able to make all your budget cuts that were
Hold on, hold
requested
on.
by the board?
Stop. The questions are for the Board of Supervisors, not for Public Health or David Shear. I don't want citizens asking each other questions. You guys are here to talk to us, not to each other.
But we were talking about budget cuts.
Right, you're interrupting him. and I
Okay,
would
go
appreciate
ahead,
if you would
David.
respect his time.
Well, that's what I wanted to say. I mean, I thought the 2% was a rather low increase, when that's, under the inflation rate. And employees could see an effective decrease in their, like, spendability because they're not keeping up with inflation on their salaries.
Well, what assumption is there that you just get a raise because
Yeah.
you've been
Yeah,
there?
again, let's talk to the board.
Sure.
This is our decision, it's not anybody
Right,
else's.
why does the board give a 1.5% or 2% raise just because? When is it merit-based?
I'm glad you asked that question. We have the compensation board, and they are supposed to be part of this. So Trista, I would like if you would explain where you guys get your numbers.
They do all the research, and you didn't expect to be in the hot seat.
Nope, but.
By state code, you have to present during this. I know you're on the agenda for the next meeting, but.
Okay, so do you want me to represent what I did before, or just numbers? You tell me what you would like.
How about if you just explain
The process.
how you guys come up with your numbers?
Yes. So how we get our information is each of the elected officials have their own representative on the board. And I believe you guys have 2 representatives, correct? So then they, each of the elected officials get their information, whether it's, I'm gonna pick on Sheila, who gets the information to me. Megan's person got it to her for her information. Then we analyze that. It's about 2.5 hour process, depending on how many questions we have. And then we kind of go with what cost of living increases are, general knowledge in the public of, some of us, a couple years ago, I was out in the regular world working. So we do bring those in there too, so we can kind of utilize a wide variety of what wages could be done and stuff like that. So then we talk it over, and then we come up with what we deem would be fair for the employees plus, or excuse me, for the elected officials, plus what's also not going to affect the county. And I mean, we're all county, we all live in the county as well. We don't want all of our taxes going in,
Sure.
We're in the same boat as everybody else, so, but we do realize that it's fair and reasonable to get their increases. So they're not merit-based, but they are basically based on cost of living increases. So.
And you use comparables
And we
with
use
like-sized
comparables, yep.
counties across the state.
Yep, like-sized counties, one of them gives us all the counties. So, I mean, we get, I don't think I even brought all of it, sorry, I apologize. There's one that I don't print because it's like lots of pages.
Did you have certain counties you elected to use?
Say that one more
Did
time.
you have certain counties that you elected to use for comparables, or did you just take all?
We took for, depending on which person it was, like the sheriff's department, that gentleman picked certain counties that he
Okay.
gave to us. I believe it, I think it's, you're the one that sends me the big long list.
I give you everybody.
Yes, so, and it's, I don't ever print it off, I read it on my computer and stuff, so, and then we have, the county attorney, she gave us, several different options, and then also, Sheila gave us, hold on just a second, she usually gives us county, city, state, anybody kind of local-ish, that we can kind of pull from information, so, sorry, I didn't know I was gonna be on the hot seat, otherwise I would've had all of it with me.
No, that's fine.
So that's how we kind of come up with it, and there's several of us on the board that we kind of go over, and like I said, we just discuss it, and we can try to come up with something that's fair and reasonable, and again, not that,
And we had a lot of good input from the other members of the board came forward because they were working certain
Yep.
ones, yeah.
absolutely, so, and they, like I said, we bring, we're kind of a wide variety of people that are on this board and stuff, so we try to bring as much knowledge as we can, and like I said, none of us want our taxes to go up, just like you guys don't either, so none of them are huge increases, so.
And have you ever served on this board where the supervisors have accepted your full proposal? Or have they always cut?
I think they've always cut, I do not remember the first year because I was kind of new at it, so I wasn't really for sure. So I don't think I went to that meeting, so I cannot say for that one, but I don't believe they went with the full,
Since
everything.
I've been on the board, we've never.
Yeah,
accepted
I don't
it.
think everything was 100%, I mean, they were,
So what's published here and what people have seen
yep,
is what your guys' recommendation
It's
is,
what our
it's not
recommendation
what
is. Yep.
the county
What
said.
we've done.
Yep.
And what your guys' recommendation was for auditor, recorder, treasurer is 3%.
Yep.
The county attorney was from $101,035 to $120,000. The sheriff went from $115,696.08 to $128,000. And the supervisors, you recommended a 1%.
We went.
And then you added $500 to the PRP on each one.
Correct, yes. Yep. And they just decided with the county attorney to make it just an even amount. That was the decision making. It wasn't a percentage of anything. Same way with the sheriff, we went with, we reviewed the back the blue and all of that information. So it wasn't a percent, it was a kind of a wage.
There's a range in there.
Yes, there you range, thank you. So that's kind of where we came up with those. There wasn't a percentage on those, so.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you
So
much.
when will you be voting on the wage increases?
Is that on to the?
Oh, it's on today's agenda.
Yes.
Okay, so the
In the
people
next
that are
meeting.
here will be able to stay for that.
But you don't have to present it then.
Oh,
No.
Okay.
I'm assuming that's not an open to the public, or is that?
You can be here.
Yeah, it's open.
Yeah.
Any decision we make is always a public, open meeting.
All decisions are?
Every decision is an
Okay.
open session.
Yeah, we have to.
I'm upset about the increase in taxes, just like everybody else in here. But I also feel that, you know, people that do a good job, they need to be paid better, so I understand a wage increase. I think everybody in this room is in a hard spot because our evaluations keep going up, so our taxes are more. But across the dang nation, everybody's getting jabbed more. We gotta come up with more money somehow. And me as a farmer, I know you understand, Tony, there's just not any more money there.
Take any more blood from a rock,
That's
right?
right.
So I don't understand, our increases in values keep going up. I didn't make it through the 80s, you know, I was a kid. Sometime, if this thing goes the other way, this county, this whole country, we're in a world of shit. We just ain't gonna have the money to do the things that we need to do. So I don't envy you guys' position. I'm here for information myself. I don't think there's any good solutions here.
Cutting services, I think, is about the only solution we
Yeah,
have.
and
What
I
are we
think-
willing to give up?
If they pass the property tax relief, that'll determine everything. I see a reduction in services, you know, if the state lets us keep those services. I don't see long-term that let us do a lot of stuff, so. So like, you know, roads, conservation, I see the state take over those, so, because they see an efficiency there. So, meetings like this won't have much to do.
You're saying a cut in service. Why can you not just freeze the budget for maybe a year, 2 years for like the salaries?
Well, that would be, no, I
Instead of
agree.
giving a 3% raise or a 1.5% raise. I mean, I worked for federal government 42 years, and I went through a lot of freezes where we didn't, cost of living went up, my wage did not go up, it stayed. Or we got maybe a 1%. So this would help basically taxpayers maybe freezing budgets for a while instead of giving the sheriff from, what, 115 to 128,000?
And that's a recommendation, that's not.
Yeah,
But it could, all of those cost of living raises, the 3%, the 1%, whatever you just said, all of those could end up, it's gonna cost the taxpayers. It's gonna cost us in our property taxes.
Right.
So why can't it, I can almost guarantee you that it's gonna go through. I mean, I'll be very shocked to see that, you know, you're gonna freeze wages.
as Megan said, we're at a $200 and some thousand increase on the overall budget for the county. We've cut a lot out of the budget, but when we go back to insurance, we don't have any control over that.
Well, I'm not talking insurance, I'm talking wages. I mean, I came from Colorado, I lived out there for 41 years. And your sheriffs and deputies and county employees are getting paid way more than what they are in Colorado, which just blows my mind because Colorado cost of living is a hell of a lot more than what it is out here.
Well, sheriff and deputies, that's a different deal because the state passed the back to blue, which meant we had to raise all those wages. Not that we wanted to, but the state mandated that we raise those wages. So that's another state thing, the back to blue.
You said that you have no control over the insurance other than which provider you select.
Correct.
And how much you charge your employees to pay on that.
Correct.
So there.
On health insurance.
On
correct.
health insurance, but things like just liability insurance on this building and the land and the parking lot and every piece of equipment. Every piece of equipment that you own.
We're just like,
that you have to insure.
we're paying for the Florida hurricanes, just like everybody else.
And when you look at the different, we have general supplement, and then we have a rural basic. A lot of that insurance stuff that we don't have control over is in that supplement. And that's why the state has created that line item, is because those are things that are beyond our control.
And that $213.52 is what you're looking at for this specific
That is overall.
increase
Overall.
for the county.
Yes.
So how much did the auditors go up, the salary?
We haven't set salaries.
Yeah.
There's a recommendation for 3%.
So what did it go from?
We haven't set it yet. The dollar
What
amount,
is the proposal?
currently the auditor is at 77,248. The new proposal is at 79,569.
But then we've also got performance recognition and the budget director's salary.
The budget director is completely separate.
So why don't
We could name anybody.
why don't you just be fair and put it all together, because there's no evaluation for an elected employee. You get your evaluation if you get reelected.
Right.
Correct.
The reason it's not together is because we give the employees a longevity pay. The longer they're here, they get rewarded for staying here with us and their experience. If we include that performance recognition pay, anybody that's named a deputy would then get a percentage of that. So by separating that out, it's not passed down to the deputies. Anything else?
So I have a question. I just want to follow up on a comment that was made. So currently, what is the percentage we are paying for insurance outside of the money we're giving for HSA accounts?
Percentage
Are we paying 90 or 95% of an employee's insurance currently? 90%. And how much are we putting in their HSA accounts every month?
3,500 now?
3,500 a year?
2,000.
2,000 a year?
A year.
A year, okay. And so,
Let's say that.
so we're giving them 2,000
Yeah.
a year in their HSA. We're paying 90% of their insurance. What is their insurance deductible?
6,000? 7,000.
7,000.
That's for a family, it's 3,500 for a single.
So,
for employee spouse.
so outside of pocket for just an employee is 1,500 a year. They would have a deductible of 1,500 a year if they took the money out of their HSA account. Is that correct?
Well, they have 2,000 in there, so it'd be 5,000.
Okay. And what can the HSA account be used for?
Medical.
Just
only.
medical? Okay.
Glasses.
And so you voted to give them an increase there in their HSA, it sounds like.
$500.
$500. So you're giving them a 2,000.
Yeah, it can be used for the deductible.
2,000 to 3,500, depending on their situation, increase a year via their benefits.
No, it's
No,
not that
that's
much increase, it's only a $500 increase.
2,000 to 2,500, right?
No, it's 1,500 to 2,000.
Oh,
We're
okay.
increasing it from 1,500 to 2,000 for the single, and increasing it from 2,500 to 3,500 for the family.
So essence, they're getting a raise every year via their benefits. They're getting an improvement for their income via their benefits.
No.
So to this woman's
No.
point,
No.
why aren't we doing a freeze on their?
No, that's not correct.
My insurance is also going up $20 a month.
But,
And part of the reason that the
So-
board decided to do that was because the plan that we chose has a higher deductible than the current
Yeah.
plan that we are on.
But we still gave you an increase. You're getting essentially a pay increase when you're getting money in your HSA account.
But
So
at the
this
cost
woman
of-
made a very good point. This woman made a very good point of maybe potentially considering, to help out the taxpayer, freezing the wages for a proposed year or two, just so things can get caught up in everyday life. Because we know nationally people are struggling, but people are struggling here in Harrison County. And that's why everyone came today. Because we're entrusting you to help us out of this debacle. We're looking for good solutions from you, and I think that was a great proposal she made, and it's a fair one, since you increased the money in their HSA.
But we also increased their deductible.
Deductible too.
That's why they chose.
$20 a month.
No, $1,000 a year.
$1,000 a year.
That's why
How
we
many
have that.
people in this room's insurance has gone up this year? I know mine has. I think everyone has. So everyone is struggling, is the point. And rather than just taking care of a small group of people who reside in the county, we need to look at the whole county and what people are paying out of everyday expenses. We need help. We're asking for your help.
Can I argue though that the county employees are the ones also that are lifting up the people in the county and doing the things, I don't wanna scrape my roads.
I understand that, and
Towards the board,
Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
Not between-
and I appreciate that, but we are asking for some good solutions, and I've heard some good solutions from the public today.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Michelle?
Michelle Sturts. I just want to comment. I want to kind of change gears. I wanted to talk about, I've sat in on a lot of these budget meetings, and I think that you have done a good job at looking at deductions and trying to save the county money for the year. You've decided that you weren't going to go over budget. You were going to have a balanced budget. Isn't that correct?
Correct.
Yes, and that's not happened for how many years? Or it has not
Well, we
happened for a
balanced it
while, has it?
It's been a while.
Yeah, and so you're trying to do that,
Yeah.
and then again, with the hiring of an IT person, again, that, to me, was a great win-win for the county, because again, where we're at in society, and just the kind of things that we have for, just IT issues, and so I think that's great. And so I think there's some things that you're doing positive, and there's a lot of things with employees. And then, looking at insurance, and the presentation last week for insurance and what you were doing to try and save, again, county money. So I think that there's other things that are being talked about at other meetings that you've done that are a good idea, and helping the taxpayers, that you didn't have to keep raising more, so.
I mean,
just a comment.
to be fair to everybody, it's kind of tough when you get to come to this meeting and didn't get to see the 4 months of work ahead of it. And like I say, we're just like you guys, we don't want to pay more taxes. And last year we balanced the budget, you can appreciate this, we balanced the budget by eliminating a bridge we were going to repair. Now, sure, we can do that every year, but how long can we go do that? They're not getting any better, so we have to balance all that.
On that note, we better take that off the 5-year plan then.
I think,
Well-
yeah, stick around for the 5-year plan, you're gonna see a lot of cuts.
Yeah.
Do we have to open our regular meeting?
We need to close this one
No,
first.
until
Right, it's gonna be a complete separate meeting.
And back to the compensation board, we also do take into effect what they have done over the year too. So it's not just, they let us know, what projects they have accomplished, completed. And each one of them's different. So from the sheriff to the auditor to the,
To a supervisor that
To
tells you we
supervisor.
don't want to raise.
Yeah.
to the supervisors that ask for not for have a raise, yes. So we do take into account, what they have done, what they have accomplished, or what they haven't accomplished, if that's right, yeah. I talk with my hands. So I did want you guys to know that we do take into that as well. So each one of the representatives comes with what their person has done that year over and above their normal job duties.
So does everybody get the same percent
Hold on.
increase?
This is to us.
So does everybody get the same percent increase?
No.
So the auditor gets a different percentage, then the assessor gets a different percentage.
The assessor is
Then
its own separate
you're
Yeah.
correct, you're correct. So the auditor and the treasurer and the recorder and et cetera, their departments do not have the same percent increase overall, even though their performance
In my
is,
time being here, the auditor, recorder, and treasurer has always been recommended the same,
okay,
and the others are all over the board.
Yeah.
okay.
But the way it used to be with the compensation board is we were tied to this. So if we cut one person's by 50% of the recommendation, we had to cut everybody 50%. The way the new law is with the compensation board now, they're an advisory committee,
Yeah.
and we can do anything with any of those salaries we want.
So does every
We can't go above
employee,
it, but we can come down.
so does every employee get the same percentage that works here in the courthouse?
That's what we have to decide today.
Okay,
And we, the percentage of the elected officials, it depends on, that can be different, but also the deputies to the elected officials get a percentage of what
the sheriff gets.
the
Yeah,
elected officials.
Okay, thank you, because I'm not trying to pick on you. I want better clarity, because I have had a ton of phone calls, emails, text, etc. about this topic.
Well, and the deputy, what they mean by deputy, that's not the sheriff's deputy. There's a deputy auditor, a deputy recorder, a deputy treasurer, just so people are clear on that. We're not talking sheriff's deputies, we're talking the deputies to them. And then for the sheriff, it's his lieutenant, his.
Sergeants.
So you can give the sheriff a raise, and I'm just using this hypothetically, not give the auditor's office a raise. Is that what you're telling me? Am I understanding that?
Yes.
Okay. And so, I think
But if we give the chief deputy a raise,
then
Everybody
you have to
gets
give everybody a raise. Okay, that is wonderful. Well, I'm hearing good solutions from the
If
public.
you give the sheriff a raise, it's the ones that are tied to his salary get a raise.
that's true, the
automatically.
lieutenant and the sergeants get a raise.
Okay,
And the chief.
thank you.
Yeah,
Right. They get a percentage, they don't get a percentage of his raise, they get a percentage of their salary.
their salary.
And it's up to that office holder, whether it's the auditor, the sheriff, or treasurer, how much of that percentage of their salary it is. They can name it, whether it's 70% of the salary, 80%, and then the Board of Supervisors approves that percentage.
So is it fair to say the employee's insurance and the employee's wages are two of the biggest, if not the biggest, budget items?
They are.
Yes.
Okay. And that is what is influencing the need for county tax revenue? Is that a yes?
So-
Is that a yes? Okay.
It depends on which line item. If you're looking at rural, 75% of rural has to be spent on roads.
On roads, yeah.
That's state code. You have to spend at minimum 75%
Of the
of that
rural
rural levy on roads.
Well, thank you.
Anything else?
I know somebody had asked for a specific scenario that they cut to show that we were trying. And back in November of last year, we looked at the cleaning services that the county uses, and we consolidated from every building using their own cleaning services to hiring in-house cleaning that cleans all county buildings here, and it saved us about $46,000. So that's something that these guys, me, all the other department heads in the county work together to do in order to save money. So that's one instance that we've been working on.
And isn't it also because you're doing the IT hiring that you're also saving other departments? You're taking money from each
That's-
yeah.
department, right?
That's the,
Yeah, we pulled from every
Plan.
department with
Right.
budget separately for IT to fund this position.
That will pay in the long run, isn't
Yes.
necessarily cheaper now.
Correct.
but-
First year, yeah.
but
we're-
the
we don't know
cleaning
what
we
the
started in
budget's gonna
December
look
and it's already paying
Yeah,
off.
cleaning's working. And IT will work once we got a mess.
Why don't you cut the HSA, why don't you cut that down?
How much you're giving, how
Yeah.
many employees are actually getting the HSA?
So what weighed in on that decision was the employees chose the option. There's a committee of employees.
Insurance committee.
That deal with the insurance. And they went with an option that would raise their deductible and lower the premium for the county. So what weighed in on the decision was a little bit of give back to them for making that decision. To save you all on tax money, can we give back to them in a little way? So that's why we raised the HSA, was they were making the offer to cut the premium by a significant amount, so there was a little bit of give back. It was a collaborative effort with the employees and the tax dollars.
That
That's
was,
why that decision was made.
and clarify who was actually on the committee. It was
I don't think it was
elected
all on the
officials.
committee.
It's every single department head, the landfill, someone from the roads union, or a designee from every single department.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, their insurance went up $20 a month, is that correct?
Depending on the plan.
Depending on the plan, and you increase their HSA how much a month?
83 is what Morgan said.
Their HSA per year, you mean?
Yes, no, per month, you're putting money in every month. So their deductible went up are there,
1,000.
okay, per month, $20, I think Megan
Oh,
said.
that's okay.
And then you have made the decision to put, is it $150 a month into their HSA? So,
Depends on
single
is
or family.
$166
So
a month.
that was actually kind of a win for them in some respects, wouldn't you say?
I think it was a win for everybody.
Yeah, I do,
It was an increase of 90,
Single was an increase of 90.
90.
so they already get 125, so it's $205.
Okay.
Oh, well.
I'm just trying to get a better understanding of where our funds are going.
Did you say how many insurable employees you have? You said 135, and then volunteers, give or take, but the
I think we
volunteers
have
don't get
105 total on the plan, but that includes other funds also.
includes others.
The volunteers, that's workman
Of the
comp.
landfill.
No, yeah.
Yeah, so the way, it's kind of confusing, so the way insurance works, it comes out of the fund that they work for. Not all the employees on our plan work for taxable funds. So, we have the landfill, we have, EMA, we have the assessor, which is not in this taxable fund, it is a taxable fund, but not this one. And then we have Cobra people, so.
So about 100,
There's less than 100.
less than
Yeah.
100 people, so we're talking $20,000 in HSA a year. That you lost,
That we increased,
Increased.
yeah.
We have a total HSA funding, according to the sheet that Megan gave us, is $249,500. That's how much we put in, according to this paper. Total HSA funding is $249,500.
But that's for all.
Everything.
Right.
It's not the
That's not-
increase. yeah.
I think there's approximately 26 of them that are not in taxable funds.
Yeah,
So you're taking out assessor, you're taking out landfill, and you're taking out roads. What's left?
Cobra
So people who are
and
affected.
EMA.
just some Cobra people too, okay.
Cut it in half.
I serve on this insurance committee, as you guys know, and I've always opted and brought this up every year. The $166 that we pay employees to stay off of the county insurance, I think that needs to go away. That's,
Yeah, we got 10 people on that?
No, we have 35.
Oh, do we? Okay.
There's 35.
And that's something that goes back
You
40
get money
years.
for not getting insurance?
Yeah, whether that's paying $20-some thousand, or they can take our insurance, we pay for that.
Because here's why. The county monthly, the new rate is gonna be $829.80. That's a month that we pay. Our 90% share is $829.80. So times 12, we pay $9,957 per employee for insurance. And then when you add in the $2,000 worth of HSA that we put in their account, you're at approximately $12,000. So giving people $166 a month is $2,000 a year to not take the insurance. You're actually saving the county 10 grand if they don't take the insurance.
but almost all those people have a secondary insurance that they're getting.
That doesn't matter. That's
Not a
not
secondary, but they have their spouse that they're on.
I agree with you, Sheila. I can see this both ways. I can see getting rid of that. But I also see that if one employee then chooses to take the county's insurance, we just went backwards on dollars.
Mhm.
I think 90% is, I think, outrageous to pay 90% of health insurance benefits. That is just, you know, I mean,
As a federal employee, what was your insurance?
This is to the board.
Oh, okay. I'll let you share that with the board
See if we
then.
have any other public comments.
In the real world, you pay 60%, and we can also save on holidays. We give more holidays in our county than the state level. I brought that up over 9 months ago when you didn't look at it.
We did look at that,
He's supposed to be
did look
talking
at
to
that.
the board.
I did
He's
look at
supposed to be
that,
talking to the board.
and I am looking at you.
He was
I-
talking to us.
Looked at that information, and we are not taking more holidays than the
You think
state.
Yes.
I have them all downstairs in my office. I can show the board at the next meeting that,
At
if
the
you'd like.
same meeting, I said that, the county attorney was here, and she disagreed, but she pulled it up on the thing and said I was right. 3 days difference.
3 days different, I was thinking it was 1 day difference.
Yeah.
You
people's
get Martin
salary,
Luther King and I don't remember what other one, whether.
are people
but she
salaried
looked
or
it up,
hourly?
you know.
Both.
Much,
Both.
but yeah.
Okay.
Well, and then I had someone call me, in regard to the insurance, and they said, okay, so it cost us $12,000 for a single plan, insurance, employees' insurance. I had someone call me, and I think they might have called you guys too, and said, why aren't we paying more? Because if we paid more, made it a reasonable amount, so it cost us $12,000. Say we said, okay, if you don't take the insurance, we'll pay $5,000, that would actually save us $7,000 if we had people jump off the insurance because they were getting $5,000. So that was just, somebody called me and suggested that. I mean, it makes sense, but it's a gamble because you can't ask ahead of time. You can't say, if we
Yeah.
gave you $5,000, would
Would
you
you get
jump off? You can't do that.
Right.
And so, you would have to have quite a few people jump off in order to make it.
I have one last question. So is it possible that the bonuses could go away? The bonuses you're paying elected officials? I mean, they understand what the job is. They're here to do the service to the public. They're passionate about the service to the public. That's why they ran for office. So is it possible not to give those bonuses, and maybe that would also help save some money on the budget? Is that a possibility or something that's been looked
You're
at?
talking performance recognition pay?
Right.
How much did it have? 3, right? 4?
5.
So it'd be $2,500.
It'd be $20,000, Brian, is that what you said?
A little over 20.
So that would save, we're here to save money. We're here to be
This is all good input.
thrifty taxpayers. Because we have homes that we need to put food on the table for.
Are you here to talk to us, Jim?
Yep, I don't know if
No,
now's the time
he's
or
in the
not.
next meeting.
Okay. We'll get you in on the next meeting.
No, I want it today.
Yeah.
Yeah, after this.
I think it'll be the next meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All I know is you've saved a lot of money moving snow this winter.
Yes, we have.
That's
Yes,
one
we
thing.
have. That's good.
Might be bad for the farmers.
Yeah.
Any other budget comments, concerns? I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved?
Okay, second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now we need to adjourn this meeting.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn the public hearing.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.